Hey yo people, what's up? It's your boy Sigma again, and we're here this time with Uncle Don in the house. And we did not have a pleasant conversation after the last time. You guys remember me blocking him and reporting him on Wade's phone.
Uncle Don's telling you to talk about him. Block, report, done. Hey, fuck off that. Hey guys, let's get to the video. See you guys.
But Uncle Don, I want to know, get you on like block and like reported this thing, or like did he at least get you out of it?
Unfortunately, Ved hasn't unblocked me from his phone. In his words, he says, "You are a quote-unquote senile old man."
What the fuck is that? Oh my god.
Read a dictionary.
Oh god.
Increase knowledge. Your name's Gabster. You need to know words in order to speak. You know.
Yeah, I know the meaning of gapsters.
Do you know the meaning of senile?
No, I don't.
Then you are senile.
You analyze fuck. I don't know.
But nevertheless, I am just here just to add fuel to fire on a lot of shit. You could just see how the tables have turned. I started off by making sure that everything was going to be up on me, but just how the tables have turned, and you just pissed at Ved Prasad Dongakar at the moment.
No, I'm not pissed at Ved as much as I'm pissed at you. Hence, I'm aerating your house with the smell of this.
And when Vedant says the tables have turned, he actually means the tables have turned because he's sitting here.
But one thing you got to give me kudos to is the fact that I am being very consistent. I'm so proud of me on this month because this is my second YouTube video that's come out.
Yeah,
and
it's just a second, Vedant.
And apart from that, I never fail to disappoint Uncle Don as well. I'm still consistent with that, so that's 2 points right there.
See,
Yeah,
disappointing me, Vedant, you disappointing me is perhaps the easiest thing you can do because your mere existence is disappointing.
And the funny thing is, Uncle Don, it's not the first disappointment in your life. That's what we're going to be speaking about here right now. So you better get your
first
Are you talking about his other two kids?
I don't have
it's two. It's just two.
I will say this. I am not married, of course not. Marriage is rather tedious. You might end up with someone like him, so it's not something ideal.
Okay.
I need a good husband.
But anyways, like, we need to get
You're
your...
a failure for a child, my guy.
Once again, we seriously need to get your memories refreshed because Vedant has a lot of questions that he's going to be asking you about your life and about all these fuck all cigars you're smoking. What the fuck is that?
It's a good. It's not really a Cubana as much as I wanted to do. Those are rather expensive. I keep them for special occasions.
Yeah, is there anything desi here?
What is special about today?
Okay,
ITC.
Cool. Makes sense.
What is special about today that you're right here on my podcast and you're just sitting and going at me and with it? What is so special for you to have a cigar today?
Today is the not third actually. It is the anniversary. I will not describe the number. It is the anniversary of me finally graduating from my alma mater. So I'm happy I left that place. I'm happy.
But what's with all this outlook? And I want to go back because this didn't come suddenly to your head, right? To just dress up like this. It's been happening for a while.
Well, yeah. See,
So how did that start?
you need
What
to
is
be
that about?
presentable. I need to look good so that people come and talk to me. I'm
Okay.
a journalist, something you both failed to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, being a journalist, you need to look presentable, and the best way to look presentable is to always have a hat.
Right, okay.
And to have a hat, you need to have a head full of hair. Something he's thinning out on recently.
I got
I'm
nothing
the
to
old
hide.
one. I'm the old.
All I see is a few bald spots right there.
See, the hat pulls the look together. I'm used to wearing hats. This is the first hat I got from my father. So he gave it to me in the year 1982.
Yeah.
So when I got this hat from him, it was a gift because he had come back recently from a trip to... Can you get
There's
the
still
hat?
a lot of spider webs in here. It just seems like it's come from 1982.
No, like the hat is, by the way, the only thing his father could give because he didn't want to give properties because...
Well,
But that
same
hat
boat. You were disappointment too, my G. Let's go, Uncle Don. Let's do this shit.
I wasn't a disappointment as big as you are. I was one, but not as big as you are.
With the next generation, if you're not better, I mean, what's the point?
But
right?
once again, I actually caught his lie right here. Okay, he said he's a journalist. But I remember clearly on my episode when we spoke about the mafias, he told he's also into a lot of underground spy stuff.
Ooh.
I was a private investigator because journalism doesn't pay as well. Never did, never
So
does.
you were also a private investigator.
You need a side hustle. You can't survive without
Okay,
it.
actually, let's go back in history a little bit.
Alright, how far?
How far right now? Like, how far do you want to go?
Far enough for me to light a cigar. Can I? Thank you.
Yeah, because we can't just listen to it all.
With it lighter.
Yeah, okay, no, I don't smoke. I'm not spoiling you.
It's always the last person you think of. It would be. But nevertheless, we don't have a lighter. Oh. Uncle George comes prepared. For those of you, my mom, dad, whoever's watching this, it's just a gone mad. We don't do that right
You have
here.
to spoil it for yourself.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all we could get in the budget. We can't afford coupon right now. So if people are watching, investors, like please, this could be a real cigar one day. But you're just not helping out.
Yes.
But anyways, let's go back in history, okay?
Yes.
So I don't want to hear all the fuck all college academics and all that shit which you got your marks from. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Sorry, my first
That's
time.
gone, man. People are not dumb, man.
I had to make it look like it's my first time.
You never know. One of the viewers might be opening a cigar fucking shop, man.
Don't mind funding.
But anyways, so we'll skip the college part. Let's start with actually your work, okay? So what was your first interest? Like, as soon as you came out of college, what was your first, like, I'm going to do this? What is that like?
I worked at a newspaper, a local newspaper in the Goa area. The Goa
Yeah,
region.
so you were a nerd. Which you look like. But anyways, continue. Yeah.
If I look like a nerd, you both are dorks.
Okay.
If there's anyone who looks like a nerd, I mean intellectual, it's me because I'm the only one wearing normal shades here right now.
Yeah.
What the fuck is up with you? Why are you wearing those shades?
Because I look good in this.
You can't
You are
comment
the-
on me not looking great in these.
I mean, I just get him. He's an old dork. But what the fuck is up with you?
Yeah, he's wearing a fucking old dog stylish glasses. That's fucking fake Ray-Bans which you got for $300 on roadside.
These are actual Ray-Bans, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know whose is this, but yeah, whatever. It looks
These
good.
are not RAN based. These are Ray-Bans.
Yeah, it looks like Rand based, but anyways, continue. So you worked in a local newspaper.
Yes. It didn't pay well. Of course, it didn't.
Of course, yeah.
So I used to write articles for the newspapers on recent happenings. So one of the recent happenings was a sweet store opening, which was a franchisee for a rather big corporation at the time. So they came, they opened a shop there, and it was big news because this thing would have attracted a lot of business and commerce to the area. Unfortunately, they were really bad.
Okay.
So that entire store was shut down within the first 6 months, and I had to cover the entire 6-month timeline of that store. So I go to the store owner. The store owner is even for that time, he was a rather prudish individual. In simple words, as you call him, a geek.
Yeah. Basically, 20 years down the line, which you became, he was already that time.
No, I'm not.
Someone a bigger dog than him.
So I go to him, I open out my notebook, I start writing. I was like, okay, tell me a story, what happened? So he tells me. Sorry.
Oh my god. Yeah, we know who's the real geek now.
Yeah. So he tells me, he's like, listen, I couldn't, run the store because I was lacking funds because the people who came there did not have money. They took a loan from the bank. The bank foreclosed on the property because they hadn't paid off any of the installments in any of the months. So they had to close on the property and he had to actually sell the sweets to the bank
Okay.
as payment. So the sweets were taken in by the kilo. So a sweet box that we'd get for at this point in time we'd get for say 400 rupees. He had to sell 6 or 7 of those boxes at about 800, which is an overall loss.
But tell me this, okay? And tell me this very honestly. Did you actually enjoy reporting on such bullshit?
Absolutely not.
Like, I don't give a fuck if a sweet shop is sold to a bank.
Exactly.
Do you?
I don't.
I genuinely don't.
That's why I said
How much
private
difference will make my
investigating.
life?
Private investigating was my favorite thing. I love the fact that I could snoop around on people and get paid for it.
Oh.
Investigative journalism back then was private investigating.
So wait, how did the transition happen? Like, how was it that you went from a journalist to a so-called private investigator?
1996. This was the time where I was in my late 30s, early 40s.
You are old now, aren't you?
Very old.
That makes you currently in your 60s.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is, by the way, this is hair
Statement.
color. I see. Anil Kapoor wishes his hair was this black at my age.
And you wish Anil you could dance like Anil Kapoor.
I dance better than him.
We'll be seeing that in the BTS, but please carry on.
In 1996, there was a woman who came to me in my office. Back then, I actually did have an office because the people in that news agency were so. What is the word you use, Vedant? Fuck all, is that?
Yeah.
That's the correct way of using it. Fuck all.
Yeah,
Fuck all.
So they were so fuck all that the best news that they could get was local elections happening and the MLA winning by 5 votes. That was the biggest news in that area at that point in time. I strayed far away from political news because it's boring. who winning by how many amount of seats for them to do same bullshit all over again isn't none of my concern.
Yeah. You'd rather see a good-looking woman and investigate her shit.
I think we all agree here.
I mean,
everyone likes a good-looking woman over a politician.
But was that the reason you actually got into private investigation?
Let me tell you why the woman had contracted me. She was a mutual friend. One of her friends was currently an acquaintance of mine. So through reference, she came to me. She said, "You're a journalist. I need your help." I'm like, "What help do you need from me?" She wanted me to help pull an expose on
Her husband.
It wasn't actually. It was
A cheater of a boyfriend.
her husband owned a company. She wanted me to do an expose on.
Oh, she's a cheater. Oh, no,
No, the husband was also cheating on the side, which I found out later on. It wasn't with the secretary. It was with the VP of the company.
Whoa.
He went off the scale. The quid pro quo was happening in the opposite direction. You don't know what quid pro quo is, do you?
No.
Very well.
Do we have a GoPro here?
It's not
This
GoPro.
reminds me we need a GoPro.
Quid pro quo.
GoPro.
So you give me something, I give you something. You know all those bosses who have sex with their secretaries? That is quid pro quo.
It's more like those videos where the guy comes, the woman can't pay rent, and then. Sorry, I just have so much time in my hand ever since graduation.
No,
it's not my fault.
Vedant, you've not had time in your hand. There has been something else.
I'm just saying, I'm not the only one out there.
You've been going to the wrong websites.
We wanted you to go to Naukri.com, not
Internshala. Go to LinkedIn. What the fuck? What weird fetishes do you have?
I'm just trying to keep my options open for where I could stream. That's the only reason I went over there in the first place.
Stream. You want to stream?
Turns out those sites aren't for podcasts.
You want to stream, bitch?
It's not my fault.
Guess what? Even if you stream, you're not going to get money. First, get fucking money over here. We're using God mad as substitute for Sigas.
See, I don't come at you so personally.
You brought it up. But anyways, continue. We are not going to be so judgmental about the woman. Yeah, anyways, continue.
It just mattered. It seemed to matter.
The glasses are to hide my disappointment. This.
Okay,
You get caught in the crossfire, man. You're the metal child.
Yeah, sure.
So, she wanted me to find out if her husband was cheating, and also the corporation that was there in the area was rather corrupt. I said two birds, one stone.
I'm so sorry. I just need a picture of him with a cigar so I could send it to his mom.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's going to Auntie Dikshit. Alright.
I go to the corporation. I go under the disguise of being a reporter. I say disguise as a reporter because that was all my position allowed me to do. I go and I tell him, "So sir, I am a reporter. I am here to talk about the company and its growth because the newspaper wanted me to put an article on it." He believed it because that's exactly what would happen with the newspaper agency I was working with. They paid well enough that I could afford a house, so I didn't really leave. But when I went in there, I found out something weird. So the man, right? So he was always, his table was very clean for an owner of the company.
What are the things I would expect on a private investigator or owner or anything that you see in a profession, like in a professional life? What would I expect based on the different professions?
If he's someone in the business, you'd expect files, folders, a mug of coffee, maybe some pens, pencils strewn about the table. It's very messy looking thing if you're always using it.
Or as a private investigator, were you of that old of a time of a generation when they'd smoke like a dog, like just a bunch of cigarettes on the table? At least like what I've seen in movies, like Narcos and stuff.
Oh no, I did smoke with him on the table because that's how you used to conduct interviews back in the day. They had to be at a very calm state in order to talk. And if he smoked, well, I'd have to smoke as well. And let's just say smoking stories.
But tell me this. This is how you got into it, right? This entire woman thing and the business part of it. What's the most interesting case you've had until now?
Most interesting case, you say?
Most interesting. Like
He's busy handling both of us at the moment, but yeah, apart from that.
Like the most you've got into, like let's say some case where you're like, fuck, I don't care if I get paid for it or not.
Haunted mansion.
It
was a haunted mansion.
An actual haunted mansion.
It was a mansion in Rajasthan.
You've seen some paranormal stuff happening.
That place was, it was a Haveli. Big, massive Haveli. And they said, the owners of the Haveli wanted me to investigate because but they wanted someone cheap as an investigator, so I was the only option available. But I was good. I was good at what I did. They wanted me to figure out if someone was living in their apartment or if it was a ghost. The Haveli, actually. So the Haveli was huge. I'm talking 6 acres of space. Only for the backyard, by the way. The courtyard of the Haveli was 6 acres, and the Haveli itself sat upon 3 acres of space.
Holy shit.
So that Haveli, right? It was beautiful. It was breathtaking. It was very well maintained. I go in. I have to stay there for 4
Did it give you an idea there could possibly be a ghost in this place? Or you were just like flabbergasted just by the look of the
I'm
Haveli?
actually going to come there. What happened when I was shown a ghost. So they told me the 5th floor of the building, it was a 7-story building, big Haveli. So on the 5th floor, there is the ghost. The room was locked. It was this old superstition where you have to lock a room where the ghost is in with all those talas, the choris.
This gave me some Bhool Bhulaiya vibes.
Yeah, exactly. I was about to say this.
Jin jin jin.
I was about to say.
Bhool Bhulaiya is based on a lot of stories by a lot of private investigators going around in these houses. Because Bhool Bhulaiya isn't really original.
But tell me this, okay, funny question between a serious conversation. Did you actually get that chin 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 in between the thing from the rooms and all?
Chin 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 is the understatement.
Then what is it? Chin chin chin. What is it?
I could hear actual ghazals, actual huge musics and rehearsals and what is that called? Riyazes. You know when a musician does its practice? You know the riyaz used to come out.
This was the ghost of Jagjit Singh singing.
I'm very sure. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like the 5th floor. It's locked, right? No one goes in, no one goes out. It's one door in. And the rest of the doors don't lead there. There's only one door to go there. That door is locked. And I'm hearing instruments being played. I'm hearing tablas. I'm hearing the harmonium. Everything is being played there. I could hear a sitar once or twice. I could hear someone dancing. None of that. I did not know who is there. It is so mind-boggling.
If only Uncle Don wished I was there, because your generation never had Shazam. And at least tell who this thing. So whether it was actually Jagjit Singh, I think like that's going to leave our viewers pretty sad.
Just Shazam it like this. And you're like, fuck you, I don't know the song.
And then, at least I have an iPhone 14, okay? For people who have XR and like the sound sucks, they'll be like, "Arey bench all ucha gana."
That's something. The fact that it was a ghazal or shairi or whatever you're talking about, it made it a little serious. Imagine there was Tamtain in spite of like a ghazal or something. Man would have started dancing right there, like fuck the ghost.
Imagine Uncle Don tripping to Vati coming and goes like, what?
I went to the first show of Vati Coming. It was The Master by Vijay Talapati. It's an amazing movie. I actually liked it a lot. Vati Coming is one of the few songs I can actually dance on. It's really nice. It's very good feel when you dance.
But did you end up finding the ghost ultimately?
It wasn't a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
It was his brother.
Oh my god.
It was a property dispute.
Yeah, that's the worst thing you could have, but anyways, yeah.
This is exactly why I told you, let's not call Uncle Don this podcast, or rather just call some tantric or something.
Exactly.
We'd at least get some real stories.
If you want an actual ghost story by me, there is one.
Yes, now we're cooking. Now we get into the good part.
Yeah.
So this was when I was in.
And it's a personal story. Okay, no.
And you don't end with logic.
No, there is no
And
logic.
I'm going to beat you up anyways. I need to go to the washroom. Yeah, smoke a cigar.
But anyway, yeah, continue.
We'll light up for you.
No, that's fine. So this story happens in the place called Devgarh. So in Devgarh, I was assigned to look at a house. Under construction house, of course. And they left it midway because the property they built it on had a house previous within which the woman who was there committed suicide.
Oh shit.
So the woman committed suicide on the window. So her body was facing outside when they saw it. She hung herself. That house, when they built it, they could see a woman on a windowsill every night. Right? Consider this to be the window. And she was always seen in front of it hanging with a dupatta.
Let me guess, red.
No. It was white dupatta.
White. Of course it was white.
Of
course it was
my little bit of that in the horror Bollywood dream went off.
Yeah,
of course.
It was a white dupatta. I will actually tell you, I have actually seen that ghost. It's an experience that changes you. You don't really look at it like, oh, I just saw a ghost, that's nice. You saw a ghost, a lot of questions come into your mind. You're like, why is that ghost there? How is that ghost there? What's the story behind it all?
You know what? I think I've experienced something like that in my life as well.
Mm.
And I think Vidit, you were there as well.
Mhm.
Well, let me just do this to make me look cool while telling a story.
Yeah, you just look even more kiddish with them.
But nevertheless, me and Vidit were sitting in class, just another boring day of college.
Mm.
And we installed this app called Ghost Detector.
Oh, yeah.
And while we were running around class, we were running around college, trying to search for ghosts everywhere in the washroom.
So
or whatever.
as for the people who have watched the previous episode, you know how bored. I mean, we are not bored, but you know how useless our college was in terms of education or any other thing. So we had a lot of free time to do shit like this. So anyways, yeah, continue.
Bottom line, we went around and 20 minutes we found no ghost on the app. And of course.
And this is inside the room, by the way, not even the entire campus. I mean, we don't have a campus, but inside one room. Yeah.
And it's always in the last place you see.
The washrooms?
No, the principal's office. It was him. I knew the motherfucker was possessed.
I mean, he didn't have a life. I mean, ghosts do not exist really. And
Yeah.
I mean, he.
Vidit scared the ghost away. He just went through some holy water, which was again his piss yet again, but he just threw it and it turns out he was like, yeah,
listen to the rest of the story.
Alright, please
You boys
continue.
want to listen to the rest
He was half born, he was full born.
So,
Turns out Islam would have than him.
This is Amazon, bro. That is just Sahara Desert. Okay,
Take out a price tag.
there is no price tag.
Yeah,
It's a
never
price
mind.
list. So, that was the situation of the place, right? I did not know who. They just contracted me. They wanted me to find out if there's any ghost in there. I said, okay. I took a police officer with me because they were afraid that there are homeless people living in there, so that I'll get hurt. So, I took a police officer with me. We go into the building. He has a service revolver out, right? And that service revolver is out of bullets. So he's like, oh, I don't have any bullets. I don't know how I'll help you. About 5 minutes after we talked, we said, oh, we'll go back to the police station to get some bullets for you. His senior officer comes out on a bullet. And back then, all police officers had these bullets.
Alright.
Enfields. You could hear him coming from like a kilometer or two away. He comes to us and he's like, oh, what are you guys doing here? I'm like, sir, I'm here. There was I showed him the police order that I had a permit to search.
And
that
man
building.
actually thought he could kill a ghost with a revolver.
You
realize he's already dead, right?
She.
Oh, sorry, yeah, it's a woman, yeah.
Dupatta. Or you never know, it's the 21st century. It would have
No,
been.
but that time was 90s.
Which goes to identify as a woman.
No, it was the
Just goes
90s.
with
Respect the
dupatta.
generation, Vedant, come on, not everybody's like you.
No, but you got to respect how people feel.
No. I don't care.
I'm just fighting with thin ice right now.
Don't care. Until you watch our videos, listen to our podcast, I don't care how you feel. Yeah, anyways, continue.
So the senior officer comes up to me and he was an inspector. He looks at the sub inspector. It's not sub inspector. It was a Havaldar who was with me. So he looks at me like, did you carry the ammunition with you? He's like, no sir, I have the revolver, but the bullets aren't there. So
And his ammunition was what? Lathi?
he didn't have a lot. He just had the revolver. So the officer is like, okay, you can take mine.
Alright.
So he takes his revolver and he keeps it in his rucksack. So the idea was we'll stay there.
His
for
what sack?
A rucksack.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's what.
I had not sack. This is what happens when you have a podcast with a bunch of kids.
Exactly. Yeah.
So he keeps it in his bag, his rucksack, and we go up. And he gives him a couple more rounds. He's like, okay, put these in. I think it was 4 bullets
Okay.
that he got with the service revolver. I held it in my hand. It was very heavy. So we go in, and
Is it the same revolver I caught last time I came to your house?
That's the point. It's not. It's a replica of what I had.
Alright. Turns out it was the only coolest thing I found in his house. And when
The rest of the things are hidden so that he doesn't take them away.
Yeah, the bows and the rifles are only interesting things in his house and in his life. Continue.
So I go into the house. There is a door with a rudimentary lock on it because it was mostly done. The interior was mostly done. They just had to decorate it out a little. So I go. I don't have the key with me. So I'm like, okay, how do we open this? So we see this caretaker-looking woman come out. So she comes out from one of the service.
What the fuck is caretaker looking?
So she looked like she's like the caretaker of the place.
Yeah, what does look like that?
And 30 years later, he still doesn't know whether it was one or no.
Racist fuck. What is caretaker looking? Tell me.
So she
Is
came
anybody
out.
born
She came out with a torch.
caretaking look?
No, she came out with a torch.
Yeah, so
she was in a
I
shop.
can hear. Don't know a caretaker bitch. What does it mean?
She looked like she was there to take care of the house. She wasn't like some homeless person who's staying there. She was contracted to be in the house to take care of the house until the investigation is done.
So she was a well-off caretaker looking.
Yeah.
So she came out with a shawl, her torch, and funnily enough, we had our own torches. It wasn't as bright, and it was kind of bright, so we switched it off. But I could still swear to this day that when I look at her with the torch in my hand, I swear I could see the wall behind her. Slightly.
Damn, okay.
She looked translucent, but I didn't pay attention because got a little scared. No? Someone just comes around the corner, like, hello, is anyone there? Of course you get scared. So she comes out, I tell her, okay, sorry ma'am, we're here to check in the house. Can you give us the key? We want to check the room. That's the room that has the highest amount of activity and we want to see if someone's in there. So she opens the door, we go in, and she comes in behind us. She's like, I have to take care of the house, make sure you're not stealing anything. I'm like, with a police officer who's going to steal anything. So she's like, no, I have to, it's my job. I'm okay. I go inside, I go near the windowsill, I run my finger across the windowsill. It's very clean. It's been under construction, that room's locked. I asked her, like, did anyone tell you to come in the room, clean it? She's like, no, that room's been locked since the beginning. I don't come in. I'm like, then why is it so clean? She's like, I don't know. The keys are with me. There's a second set of keys with the cleaner who comes sometimes. I'm like, okay, but why is anyone cleaning the place? The tiles aren't even put in. There has to be some dirt here. She's like, I don't know. I'm like, fine. I go around the room. The room's around as big as this. If you include the balcony and the washroom, that's the raw size of the room. So I go around looking if anyone's there. There was a staircase that led up to the terrace.
Before you continue, they have such a big room. Do you think they could ever give us a space for if you ended this note on a good term with the ghost, obviously.
Never mind. Just fast forward to this.
This guy's having it's like having an intrusive thought, just like impulsive thought, just on your
She's looking for a good investment.
No, but yeah, trust me, just fast forward, yeah.
Sure. I go to terrace, no one's there. Come back down. I look at the woman like, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for helping us. Just tell us if you see anything, weird or sketchy. But if while going, could you just like close the door and go? You can go to sleep. We'll lock the door and put the key near your door and leave. She's like, okay. She leaves the key bunch on the floor because there's nothing else to keep with her. And the Havaldar is just scared out of his mind because he's the one who was scared to come to the place to begin with. He knew about the history. So I was like, okay, cool. So I stay there and the Havaldar stays in the corner. He doesn't move. I'm like, yo, what's wrong? He's like, sir, there's a key bunch on the floor. I'm like, yeah, she kept it. He's like, who is she? I'm like, what do you mean, who is she? There's like a woman who came with us. She gave us the key bunch, remember? The caretaker. He's like, what caretaker, sir? And this guy was scared the entire time while coming in here. I'm like,
damn, shit just got dark, bro.
I'm like, what do you mean, what caretaker? She just went there. He's like, no. We came here. You opened the door. I'm like, I didn't have the key. He's like, I thought you had the key. I think
we missed one clue. He actually said she was wearing a white color thing.
She was wearing like a shawl and I said...
It was white color.
Yeah.
And the woman who committed suicide was in white color.
Ooh.
So, connect the dots, bitches.
And
did you ever think of that aspect, by the way?
You guys,
back in investigation?
You guys missed the most important part. I said, I shone my light through her and I swear I could see the wall behind her.
Translucent.
She was translucent.
Exactly, yeah. You should have understood by then, but yeah.
I wasn't superstitious or anything back then. I didn't believe in ghosts.
I mean, at least he's an agent. I would have thought she's probably not eating well. Something. I would have gone and asked for a workout routine. Thank God to that.
So I get scared. I'm like, what? What do you mean no ladies here? I run out. I go down the hall and take a left. That's where her room was. It's an empty wall. It's a pocket where you can just keep random things. There is no room there. There's no door.
What?
And
this was a serious thing.
It gets better. I go to him, I tell him, listen, there is probably some lady who was here. You didn't see her because you were too scared. Take the revolver out of your bag and come help me. He goes in his bag, there is no revolver.
Oh my God.
There is no revolver. I swear to God, I held the revolver in my hand. It was heavy. It had bullets in it. I opened it. I checked it. I gave it back to him. He kept it in his rucksack and he swears to this day that the gun felt real. The bullets he had in his revolver were there, but the gun that he kept in his rucksack wasn't. We run out of the house. We're like, we're not staying here. We're not staying here.
Bro, if I see a woman translucent, I'll be like, fuck the case, I'm running now.
I would run.
I go to the police station with him. We somehow hitchhike until there. We find this old man with his like bullock cart kind of looking thing.
Okay.
And we go to the police station. We tell him, sir, did you come and give us your service revolver? He's like, I've been in this station since morning 6 o'clock. I'm leaving in half an hour. I haven't left this station anytime before. I'm like, how? So where's your revolver? He's like, okay. And he removes it from his holster and keeps it. Police only have one issued service revolver. So we know this one was legit. To this day, I don't know what happened over there. I'm still trying to figure it out. To this day, I don't know what happened. Was I hallucinating? Was it
I mean,
an obscene amount of narcotics? But God knows.
It would have been hallucinating if one person probably experienced it. But if multiple people have like this weird encounters or whatever, then I don't think so.
Fair enough.
That's the one thing that's been messing me up to this date.
But nevertheless, I think we have a lot of cases on our hand right now, considering we have Uncle Don with us. And so, as with him, his unsolved pile of files which are kept right there in the corner.
These are just few of them, by the way. There are many
And
others.
Like Uncle Don mentioned, I didn't scam anything from his house, but I just filed a whole drawer right in front of his eyes. You're growing old, Uncle Don.
I knew you took them. I then later took your girlfriend.
Nah, he did. Trust me, he did. He didn't do that. You didn't do that, did you? He didn't do that. Alright, but nevertheless, it was a great ending to this podcast. You'll be getting a lot more stories here with us and Uncle Don and with the Deekshit. Uncle Don, I would love to end this, but I think I owe you from last time. I was a total asshole for that. So, you know what? You can conclude this video. I am not that mean.
Even I was, but I don't give a fuck. Conclude the shit now.
End conclusion.
Before I change my mind, go for it.
End conclusion. Disappointment 1, disappointment 2. We leave the podcast. We'll come later. Subscribe, like, follow this idiot. Follow this idiot. We're done.
Wear shades, go to gym, see you soon.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.